Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gameweek 30 deadline stream. So it's been a while since we've made any content on the channel. Again, I have to apologize. Lots of things going on in my personal life, but FPL is back. We've had a very long break. I've had a while to think about what to do as well. I mean, not that long as with everyone else. Lots of things happened over the weekend. FA Cup games, Crystal Palace won Fulham that set the doubles and blanks in a certain way, and also basically injuries to a lot of players have forced people to use their wild cards. But I'm in a slightly different situation where I don't necessarily need to use my wild card. I have a couple of options. I probably will activate it, but I just wanted to talk through some of the considerations that I have on today's stream. And also basically build the draft that I want to go with on stream. So we're gonna do that today, and hopefully this would be helpful for those of you guys who are also on the wildcard chip. All right, so thank you to those of you guys who have come early. Nicholas, Manish, Henry, nice to see all of you guys. I see some of the familiar names as with on the Telegram channel as well. So very nice to see all of you guys. If you aren't already, there is a Telegram chat where I'm a lot more active because basically it doesn't involve making a video, just to interact with you guys. So if you want to find me more frequently, I will be on the Telegram channel. But basically today, what we're doing on the stream is building the Gameweek 30 wildcard draft because I'm pretty sure I'm going to activate it. So just so I can talk through a bit of my considerations as to why I'm going to activate it. I don't think my team right now on screen is very different from a wildcard draft, as you'll see later on. But I also don't think that the Game Week 30 wildcard draft is going to look too different from the Game Week 31 wildcard draft. Like, definitely there's pros and cons. I mean, obviously, you wait till Game Week 31, it means that you have more information, more time, and potential injuries to players in the Game Week 30 games could mean that maybe you get a bit of an edge in Game Week 31. That all still stands. But for this particular game week, I look at my team and the differentials that I have. Firstly, it's Bowen against Wolves. I'm fine with that. I think Bowen this week is not too bad at all. Palmer against Tottenham could also be a decent enough differential. I've seen Palmer in some Game Week 30 wildcard drafts as well. And then for the rest of my team, it's down to Mbumo and Vissa. So mainly I think this Mbumo and Vissa position, both of them playing away to Newcastle, is not ideal, that's one. But also that if I were to wildcard, the players I would have in this spot is probably someone like Eze or Ismail Assar instead of Mbumo. And then instead of Vissa, it's Mateta up front. So I think overall, when I kind of look at the Game Week 30 wildcard draft, which I'll show you guys later on, I do think that it does improve my team for Game Week 30. And again, if it doesn't look too different when I wildcard 1 week later, why don't I bring it forward and just activate it now, basically? So I've had a different kind of thought process to, I guess, those of you guys who maybe have Haaland and Chris Wood and you're forced into it. I'm not necessarily forced into it, but I still think that it is the way that I'm going to go. Right, so I'm keen to know what some of you guys think. If you're on the fence as well, maybe let's put out a poll for wildcarders to just see who is on a wildcard and who's not on a wildcard. That's in the chat right now. Are you on a wildcard? Is your wildcard active this week? Okay, let me know in the chat, just so that we can get a bit of a sensing. just so we can get a bit of a sensing on who is on a wild card and who's not on a wild card. Thank you all of you guys, by the way, for coming early. Really appreciate that. There's 84 of you guys already, and we haven't even streamed or had much content on the channel for a while. So appreciate all of you guys coming down. We're gonna be online for, I would imagine, quite a bit of time. At the minimum, the next 45 minutes or so. But I want to build the Gameweek 30 wildcard draft. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to answer that many questions, but I guess most of it would be in my decisions on the draft. Okay, let me say hi to some of you guys in the chat first. Right, good morning. Is it morning, Nicholas? Good morning. Henry says, should I keep Palmer? On a wild card, I actually don't mind people keeping Palmer. I mean, there's lots of money in the bank for most wildcard drafts, which make people think whether they should even go for Foden, for example, or Palmer, or Saka, right? Like that spot is pretty much a placeholder for Saka, I would imagine. If you are not using the wild card, then I would say that it's not an issue keeping Palmer just one more week. Nice to see you, Ricky. Hope you had a safe travel back to Jakarta. Toby, nice to see you. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Harry Butt says, best assistant manager in Gameweek 31, please. My head is fried from it. Emery or Glasner? So I think that there are a couple of different ways you could go with the assistant manager. It's not necessary that you have to use it on Glasner, but I think one of the main things that is I guess it also depends on the remaining chips that you have, because one of the members who I think is in the chat today, yeah, Matthew's in the chat, right? And basically he said that he does not have a free hit, right? So basically he can't free hit in 34, but he's still, I think the strategy is still to assistant manager in game week 31 to 33, in which case if you go for Glasner as the assistant manager, it basically means that you can have him as your third Crystal Palace asset and then lose him in game week 34 when there's a blank. So you still have three Crystal Palace for double game week 32 and double game week 33, but then you would lose that third Crystal Palace spot for 34, which helps you in that in navigating that blank game week. So I think, again, the other chips that you have would kind of help you to determine whether you want to put it on Glasner or not. If not, I think Emery is also a decent consideration for that period of time that you play your assistant manager. So lots of different strategies. Matthew, as I said, nice to see you in the chat. Thank you for becoming a member on Telegram. Optimus Crime says, great to be back. Yeah, I mean, it is great to be back. I really wish I could put out more content, but unfortunately it's just a case of life getting in the way. But we will be back with more content as soon as I can. I don't want to make any promises because things are getting hectic in life. Remedian says, hi Leon, thanks for the Game Week 30 content. One dilemma for me, shall we do Game Week 30 wildcard, Game Week 33 bench boost, Game Week 34 free hit, and Game Week 35 to 37 assistant manager? So I'm pretty sure that if I had the assistant manager, I don't think I would delay it until 35 to 37. I'm quite sure I would assistant manager in the double, which means that I use it from 31 to 33. It just won't make sense to use it any other time, like 32. If you activate it 1 week later, it means that you drag it until 34, which is a blank, and then you can't use your free hit in 34, which is, defeats the purpose. And then if you delay it any longer to 35, I mean, you lose a fixture then, like 35 to 37, and even 37 potentially could be a blank, but it doesn't really affect assistant manager. But I just think because you lose a fixture, you may as well just go for 31 to 33 and gain that extra fixture. So yeah, assistant manager 31 to 33 is probably what I'd do if I still had it. Bench boost, which again is still not as powerful of a chip as the assistant manager. I would leave it to something like 30, 36. Or even if 36 doesn't become a double game week, you can just use the bench boost in a single game week. Like that's fine too. Nicholas says banned on Telegram. Well, you can just create a new account. Like that's the good thing about Telegram. Matthew says this game week the most headache, no more free hit and triple captain. Yeah, I mean, no free hit is tricky, but I think it's possible to build a wild card that has blank game week 34 in mind. I think it's possible. You just have to watch the number of blank players that you'll have in 34, which is essentially Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, and Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Man City. That's the 4. Best 3 Crystal Palace players. I think the first 2 has to be Munoz and Mateta. The third spot, I think it's up in the air, whether it's Eze or Sa, or even someone like Henderson or, I don't know, Gehi. Like, double defense is not a bad shout as well for Crystal Palace. But I would think most people would tend towards one of Ismail Assar or Eze as the third Palace player. Nice to see you, Martin. Nice to see you in the chat. Aina, Munoz, Gabriel, and Housen pick 3. To start for this week, if it's to start, probably Gabriel, Munoz, and Housen, and bench Aina. Like and subscribe. Toby, thank you very much. Yes, please do like and please do subscribe. All right. Right, I think I had better switch over to the wildcard tinkering screen in case people get the wrong idea. So I intend to wildcard. Just now was my original team. I have not yet activated the chip, which I think I should just to avoid confusion, but I'm pretty much going to activate it. So I'm going to do a bit of tinkering right now. And I want to kind of get your input as well, like everyone in the chat, for different positions, who you guys think I should go for and who you guys are going for as well. I have a rough template in my mind already, but I just want to hear different views and different opinions in case we miss out anything. All right. It's nice to see all of the familiar faces in the chat. Thank you all for tuning in. All right. Let me just... JY, this is not my wildcard team, and I'm going to wildcard right now. All right, so let's go for keeper positions. We're gonna build the draft. All right, we're gonna build the draft, and I want to kind of involve you guys in it as well because I'm sure there's lots of people on the wildcard. I think 73% of people from the poll in the chat right now are on wildcard. Declan says, it's all such a mess. I'm just going to wildcard next game week. I would wildcard next game week. Like, in fact, it was part of the plan. But the main thing is, I don't think a game week 31 wildcard looks too different from a game week 30 wildcard. Like, I've come to that conclusion after building both drafts. And really, it doesn't look too dissimilar. Right, so let's start off with the forwards, because I think that is where it's the easiest to start. Right, so I'm gonna okay, this is not as, it doesn't allow me to, okay, let me switch it back. Am I able to clear the squad? Okay, give me a moment. Let's do something different. Actually, you know what? Let's leave it here. I'm being indecisive. All right. So let's go with the forwards first. Can we all agree can we all agree for the forwards, it's going to be Mateta, Isak. Wait, where's Isak? Isak's on the bench. And last one is Marmoush. Can we all agree on this front three? Okay, for the forwards, am I missing anyone else? I don't think. I mean, there are other decent forwards, but I just don't think this week is the one. Right? So Isak, Marmoush, and Mateta. Anyone else? All right, so we're all in. Yeah, we're all in agreement. All right, Isak, Marmoush, and Mateta. All right, so I should click the wildcard active on this. Yeah, wildcard. All right. So next up, because it's so tricky to the midfield, we're gonna skip the midfield first, and we're gonna go to defenders. So I'm gonna put out what I think is going to be my defense, and I'm gonna get you guys to kind of type in the chat anyone I've missed out. So Gabriel, Vardiol, and Munoz definitely are going to be in the draft. So Gabriel, Munoz, and Vardiol. The last two defenders currently who I have in my draft, the first one is Konza. But this is mainly with the double in 33 in mind, where I intend to bench boost in double game week 33. Right, so Konza here is with that in mind. Just apologies. All right. So, and the last one is a Newcastle defender, which also is essential, right? So this one could be Trippier or Livramento. For the time being, I have Livramento, but I might go Trippier, right? So this one, let me know what you guys think, right? So the back five is Gabriel, Munoz, Vardiol, Konza, and Livramento. Anyone else that I'm missing from the defense? Dan Burn. So the thing with Dan Burn is basically... The thing with Dan Burn is that he's on 8 yellow cards. So there is a chance that by the time they play 32 games, that he could be suspended for the next 2 games. Right? So, I mean, I just want to be extra safe. Dan Burn is definitely less of a minutes risk, but I just want to be extra safe and I go Livramento now. I would even say that Livramento is a safer pick than Kieran Trippier. Alright, so for now, Livramento is in there. Let me know what you guys think. By the way, if you guys are here and you haven't liked the stream yet, please do help me out and drop a like on the stream. That would be appreciated. Munoz stops you from getting Eze and Sarr. I'm not really fussed about having both of them. I think there are enough midfielders to choose from that I'm not super put off by not being able to get both of them. Let's have a look. Marv says, I'm going for Evan Nielsen, Marmoush, and Isak, and then Eze instead of Kluivert. Yeah, I mean, Kluivert is not even in my latest draft. That's the thing. Frontline picks itself, yes. I have Dan Burn. Yep, I get that. I mean, I get that Dan Burn is a safer pick. It's just the thing about the 8 yellow card situation, basically. Didn't want to wildcard. I had a semi-decent team, but everyone was wildcarding. Didn't want to fall behind. I mean, I'd say to try and just make a Gameweek 31 wildcard draft, make a 30 wildcard draft, and compare the two. If it's not too different, then you can pretty much bring it forward. I don't think there's definitely an element of risk that I'm acknowledging I'm taking on if I voluntarily wildcard like what I'm doing right now. But I think it is fair enough. Wan Bissaka for Gameweek 33. So Wan Bissaka, I will cover West Ham defense. I know they have Southampton in Gameweek 33. I will cover that with Areola as my keeper. So we'll get to that. Okay. Very, very nice. Seven says, I would like your stream twice if I could. Come on, guys. All those in the chat asking questions, like and subscribe. Thank you very much. So you heard the man. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, so I'm gonna move on to the midfield. I think this is where it's gonna be a bit different, and I think this is where people will start to experiment as well. So I'm gonna put in the obvious players first. I'm gonna put Salah back in here. All right, so Salah is definitely going to be in the draft. The fact that there's no Haaland as well just frees up so much money. In fact, I was hoping that Haaland would be fit throughout this period so that there would be some difference in drafts. But now you see that Haaland is out. We don't really have to make too much decisions in terms of, budget constraints because everyone has lots of money now. Right, so Salah is definitely going to be in here. Another player that I have in my draft is Jacob Murphy. So I'm going to start with Murphy here. I mean, the thing with Murphy is that I do feel like if I wildcard in Gameweek 31 instead, and and we hear more about Anthony Gordon and him being back potentially, then I definitely prefer to have Gordon over Murphy. But since we're wildcarding now, I think it just makes sense to just go with a cheaper option and have Murphy here. I'll look at the chat in a bit. The next one is Bukayo Saka. So again, I think this one's going to turn a few heads. But I'll finish it up with Rashford. And lastly, the last midfielder I have is Eberici Eze, who could be Ismail Assar, right? I'm not set on that yet. But if I was to make this team, right, look something like how I would set up. The keepers, again, I haven't sorted them out yet. We're not on keepers yet. But for midfielders wise, I'm on Salah, Saka, Eze, Rashford, and Jacob Murphy. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. One moment. Okay, apologies. Okay. What 8 yellow card rule? Basically, if a player gets 10 yellow cards before 32 games, then they would be suspended for 2 games thereafter. So Dan Burn is on 8 yellow cards, so there is a small chance. I have wildcard, bench boost, triple captain. We'll use 1 free transfer for Eze to Mbumo. Okay, fair enough. When will the Gameweek 33 doubles be confirmed? Likely before the Gameweek 31 deadline. So after the Gameweek 30 deadline, then we'd get confirmation. I've already made a transfer. Will I get back my free transfer if I activate my wildcard? The answer is yes. You will get it back. Raya, Gabriel, Munoz, Varial, Saka, Salah, Clivert, Murphy, Mateta, Marmoush, Isak. Most of them look fine. Just Clivert is a bit of a doubt. Why Murphy if you can afford Gordon? I can afford Gordon, that's the thing. But I'm not certain on his return date. That's the issue, and I'm not sure whether we can trust Eddie Howe. I could very well just do Gordon and bench him here and basically have, you know, lots of money sitting on the bench. I actually have just the right amount, right, for Gordon on the bench, which is a possibility. Is Rashford nailed? I don't think he's nailed, but he does feel to me like he is really putting himself out there in terms of getting a starting spot week in, week out. I mean, they have lots of attackers, and he is definitely going to be a risk, but I do like to have one or two different players on the wildcard draft. And I do think like people are probably staying away from Rashford because of his minutes, but I think there are gains to be had there, and I think his form for Aston Villa recently have been pretty good, so I don't mind taking a bit of a risk. I would say that I'm more confident of Marcus Rashford than I am of someone like Savinho. Like, both of them aren't super secure for minutes. People are some are swaying towards Savinho because it's Man City against Leicester, but I would say that I feel a bit safer going for Rashford here. And a small thing about Rashford, or maybe a big thing, I guess, is that he has the potential to take penalties off of someone like Watkins or even Tielemans. So I don't mind a bit of a high upside pick with Marcus Rashford here. Sa is better than Eze. Can you afford Foden with the funds? So I can afford Foden. There are a couple of different variations of drafts that I've looked at. I can afford Foden, but that would be in place of Saka. And my main thinking is that eventually I would want Saka. I'm pretty confident that Arteta is going to start Saka as well. Maybe he won't get the full 90 minutes, but I'm pretty confident that Saka will start. And really with Saka, it's more a play on the longer term. With lots of home fixtures in the next few to go. Right, Fulham, Brentford, Bournemouth, all at home. Decent enough kind of opposition as well. And then there's Everton away, Ipswich away. Like, I do think it's a decent enough run to load up on Arsenal attackers. Let me finish up the draft with the keepers, and then right, so Gordon's out. I mean, Gordon wasn't in the draft. Let me just put Murphy back in. Then I have 1.6. Right, so this is currently the draft that I have. Exactly the same as whatever it's on Instagram as of the latest that I've posted. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this draft. And I guess the main thinking behind it is the bench boost as always. It's a question of whether I want to bench boost in game week 32 or game week 33. But I do think either ways, there's only one real difference. See, if I move over to game week 30 now, and this is based off of Planet FPL's projected fixtures, you'll see that I have Areola against Liverpool here. So that's not ideal. So if I was to bench boost in 32, I would replace Areola with Verbruggen. So obviously that's on my wildcard, right? So I go back to game week 30 now. I'd have Verbruggen here instead of Areola. And then come game week 30 when I 32 when I bench boost, team would look pretty good. All right, I have Verbruggen against Leicester. I mean, if I sub in all the double game week players, I mean, it does look pretty decent, right? So I do think like it's really a case of which game week do I want to bench boost in. If I reverse the move and I decide to bench boost in 33 instead, I would just stick with Areola because Areola has that good fixture in game week 33. So fast forwarding again to 33 now. I put in all the Aston Villa players. The Newcastle ones, in Gameweek 33, if I do bench boost then, Isak will become Watkins. Konza comes in. And then Livramento and Murphy, I mean, I could sub them out for other doublers in this week. And then Saka obviously comes in. I mean, but you see there's so many doublers already. So I do think like 33 for me now is still the week that I'm leaning towards. Livramento and Murphy would be taken out for more doublers. But I do think like it's a case where I'm leaning towards a 33 bench boost. So coming back to 30 now, I have Areola here just because of that Southampton fixture in Gameweek 33 in mind. And obviously in terms of variations, like before I get back to the chat, in terms of variations, I could do Ismail Assar here. And then can I reach Gordon with this? I probably can. Yeah, so this is one of the other alternatives, right? That I get Ismail Assar instead of Eze. And then I have Gordon on the bench. I definitely still prefer Gordon over someone like Murphy. So yeah, this is one of the permutations that I could go with. What do you guys think? Let me have a look at the chat. Gordon was injured during his England game. Yeah, but Eddie Howe did say that it is not too serious. They do expect him back in Gameweek 31. But that's what I can't confirm as well, right? So that's pretty much why I'm not... I mean, I can afford this draft, but I'm just not super pressed to get Gordon at this point. Ilanga or Rashford? I mean, I'd have to say Rashford. If you're looking longer term, they're probably going to get a double. Rashford, Savino, Ilanga, or Mbumo. As a 1 week punt, I actually really like Savino. Just like for those of you guys who are on a 1 week punt. Mitchell or Gahey, can't afford Munoz. Between Mitchell and Gahey, I probably go Mitchell. Rashford may even be the main penalty taker for Villa now. I mean, he did take one in the FA Cup, ahead of Tielemans as well. And I actually think Tielemans previously was the main taker. Will Saka start 100%? That's the thing. We don't know. And I'm obviously taking a gamble here if I go with Saka. But if I'm to put my money on it, do I think Saka will start? I think Saka will. What's the best way to navigate blank game week 34 with wildcarding this week? If you still plan to bench boost, would you consider not going all in on double game week players? So I'm assuming you don't have a free hit, Dusty Tones. And similar to Matthew as well, like for those of you without a free hit in 34, I think firstly, you will have a good number of transfers by the time you get to then, which would be 4, right? 30, 31, 32, 33. You have 4 to 5 free transfers come game week 34 that you can use to swap out some players. I will still try as best as possible to maximize the number of doublers you have, but I'll just have one eye on the 4 teams that are blanking, which is Arsenal, Crystal Palace, City, and Aston Villa. Obviously, this is not confirmed yet. We need to wait for the announcements, but predictions-wise, these 4 teams are likely to blank because they will be playing in the FA Cup semi-finals. So you have one eye on that and just work around the different positions in your team that can afford to just go for a single game week player instead. All right, so that's what I'd say. You definitely will have to make some compromises. You can't go for all... You can't have so many double game week players, but I think there can be compromises made here and there. If money is not an issue, is Eze or Ismail Assar better? If money is not an issue, I actually still prefer... I mean, I know the data for Ismail Assar is really good. And Eze probably is a slightly different kind of asset than he was previously, because previous seasons he was a penalty taker. He was, a really talismanic player for Crystal Palace. But now this season, because Mateta could be on pens as well, and Eze's role may be slightly different, and set pieces wise, he doesn't take all the corners as well. So Eze as an asset maybe not deproved, I guess, isn't as attractive as previously. But when I still compare him to Sa, I just still prefer Eze if money is not an issue. But obviously, you see what it allows you to do. And even in my team, like, it allows me to go from Murphy to Gordon, which is a huge upgrade, assuming Gordon is fit. So I would probably assume that it would be possible to do the same for your team as well. In which case, yeah, I'd probably say Ismail Assar is just the more value for money option. Clive to Saka, already risking it with Palmer, Rogers and Castagna, 2 players off the bench. Clive to Saka is a decent enough move, but I just wouldn't. I'm assuming you're not on a wild card this week. I don't think if I was not on a wild card that I would go for Saka. Like, the main reason why I'm going for Saka here is because I know eventually I'm going to want to bring Saka in. I'm taking a risk now that he starts in Gameweek 30. But I don't think you need to take that risk if you are going for a 1 week punt, making a transfer like Kluivert to Saka. You could go elsewhere. Nico Gonzalez over Rashford? Nah, probably won't. Money is not an issue. I'll answer this one. Kluivert and Tavernier out. Will Dango start? Possibly. Saka, Foden, and Salah. Saka, Foden, and Salah. Where else would you be compromising then? Probably have to look at the whole team. I mean, I won't put people off going for Foden. I think it's fair enough to go for Foden. But I do think, like, yeah, people are probably getting carried away with the Leicester fixture. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it is a good fixture. It's more a case of I would be wary, I'd say. Is Savinho a good pick? Put it this way, I'd probably go for Savinho over Foden if I had to choose one. Is Kluivert going to start? I mean, latest from Areola is that he is a bit of a doubt. A late call will be made on Kluivert. Livramento and Gordon, or Trippier and Murphy, definitely the first option. Livramento and Gordon. I think if you're in a league, you shouldn't rush into signing Saka. Even if you have an active wildcard, opponent never has to know your next move. With Kluivert now a doubt, who's the best 5th mid to go and get for his replacement? I like Murphy, to be honest. Like, I still like Murphy as a cheap midfielder. What about Asensio? Asensio is a good option. But for me, Rashford, because he has the pens, or potential pens, I put Rashford ahead of him. Gordon has severe bruising. Yes, I think Eddie Howe is aware of that one. What about Savinho? Yeah, I mean, I prefer Savinho over Foden if it puts it into perspective. Lionel, nice to see you here. Love the stream, man. Keep up the good stuff. Thank you very much. Are you on a wildcard yourself? I'm gonna close the wildcard poll in a bit, and we'll do a captaincy poll, because I think captaincy this week is also a little bit of a debate. But I mean, actually, I think I can close the poll right now, because 75% or 74% of people are on a wildcard. So that's honestly insane. Let's put up a captaincy poll. Gameweek 30 captaincy poll. Let's go with Salah. Isak, Marmoush, and other. Captaincy poll is up. Let's have a look. I'm gonna make a guess and I'm gonna say that Salah's gonna be 65%. That's my guess. All right, so I'm gonna switch over to this screen right now because I think it's time to hit the wildcard button for good. Probably the first time I'm activating my wildcard on the stream. Because in all other seasons we usually have so much more time to think about it, but this season is just so different. It's just we have to make our decisions in such a short span of time. All right, so let me clear the squad. They really should have a button to clear everybody out. Reset. Reset? Nah. Reset's gonna put everyone back. I'm gonna keep Salah in the draft. Marmoush is in there. All right, so Ariola. Defenders wise, it's Vardiol. Munoz as well. Gabriel stays. Livramento. Last one is Konza. I'm going to put the Gordon combination in first. Try it on for size. Smiler, Sarr, Rashford. Who am I missing? Smiler, Sarr, Gordon, Rashford, Salah. Saka. Okay, and up front, Marmoush, Isak, and Mateta. Let's try this on and see how we feel. Okay. Virgil van Dijk, I probably wouldn't go there. I mean, Liverpool have no more double game weeks. Why not both Murphy and Gordon? I do like having a Newcastle asset. I think defensively, Newcastle are pretty strong. I mean, we saw that in the EFL Cup, but the fixtures are pretty decent. Like, there are clean sheets in this run. I mean, it's Brentford, Leicester, United, Palace, Aston Villa, Ipswich, Brighton. I mean, I do see clean sheets there, so I want to have a piece of that. I think Isak plus one of Murphy and Gordon is enough. Martinez for bench boost, game week 33. Save a Newcastle to Villa transfer. Yeah, that is something I did have a look at as well. But then it wouldn't allow, I mean, it doesn't leave me much in the bank to get Gordon, for example. Like, this is, I mean, I have 0.4 in the bank. If I do Martinez, something has to give. I probably can't go for Gordon anymore, which I quite like the look of after one of you guys pointed out to me. How do you rate Rodgers, Asensio, and Rashford? Which is better? Minutes-wise, for sure, Rodgers is the safest. But I just like having that one or two different players in the wildcard squad. And, I mean, Rashford for me is that player. Will Saka get more than 60 minutes? Who knows at this point, but I do think like there's a very good chance that he will start, and I think minutes wise, I mean, let's lay out the facts. He's had behind closed doors a game played behind closed doors. Arteta has come out to say that he's very careful with Saka. He has taken all the precautions, and he says Saka is ready. I mean, he's not the kind of player that I think they would rest if he's fit. Like, you saw the drop off in attacking form. So if I have to put my money on it again, I would say that Saka is gonna get a decent chunk of minutes. I think possibly even more than 60, like 70, 80 minutes. Have you considered Edison as the third Man City pick? Actually, no. And it's mainly because I don't really rate the City defense. Like, I think double defense for Man City is really not something I looked at. Like, I've seen a couple of drafts with that. I just don't want to get involved with double City defense. If you didn't have the wild card, what? If you didn't have the wild card, so what did we have to do to navigate doubles and blanks in the upcoming weeks? If you don't have a wild card, do you at least have a free hit? Because if you do at least have a free hit, I will still continue to build up your Crystal Palace and Newcastle players leading up to 32 as well as 33. Then after that, you free hit out of them in 34. I would still say that strategy-wise, it could be pretty similar, free hit in 34, but just that you're using free transfers to get to a squad that maybe others would have wild carded right now in 30 to get to. Who's your captain? Great question. Looking at the poll, I think there is a good reason why Salah is the most captain, but I'm gonna say that I think right now I'm leaning towards Marmoush. I'm honestly leaning towards Marmoush, yeah. What if you can't afford Rashford? Potential options, then Rodgers. If you can't afford Rashford, I would go Rodgers already. Thoughts on Trippier instead of Livramento? Trippier is on a decent number of set pieces. I mean, we know the quality that Trippier possesses, but I'd say that I think Livramento for me, I mean, there's a bit of cost saving there, and also I feel a bit safer with Livramento as a pick as opposed to Trippier. Like, if they were to take if Eddie Howe was to make a 55th minute substitution for one of the fullbacks, would you say Livramento comes off or Trippier? I'd say probably Trippier is the one that comes off. Who would you start, Saka or Rodgers? And do you think Saka starts tonight? I think Saka does, and I would definitely start Saka ahead of Rodgers. Ricky, how do you think about downgrading Rashford to Rodgers, and then you can have Sells or Flecken in your team? Not too keen on Sells and Flecken, to be honest. I'm pretty happy with Raya and Areola. I'm just thinking if I could reach... I mean, I already don't have to make 2 transfers to get Aston Villa players because I'm already starting with 2. In 32, they have Southampton. That's actually why I am pretty keen on having... 32 is Brentford. But I do want to save that last spot for... Watkins though. So if I go something like... I mean, Martinez is pretty expensive. I don't think I can afford it. Martinez in, Konza out, and let's say Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I don't think I can afford this, can I? Yeah, I'm 0.5 short. 0.5 short. Doesn't really save me a transfer as well. Like, I will still have to bring Watkins in for Isak. Riola in, and the last one, Konza. Yeah, I mean, I'm still leaning towards something like this, to be honest. Pulse Driver says, who to play this week, Trossard or Palmer? I would go Palmer. Right, I'm very far behind the chat. Give me a while. So considering I have no free hit, I'm thinking Raya and Kepa, 8 Nuri instead of Konza. I can still bench boost and minimize the hits for game week 34. Yeah, I think that works as well. I mean, the main compromise would really just be not having as many doublers. But again, as I say, like I do think like it is worth it because it'll help you to get to a better squad in blank game week 34, and I think that is more worth it than getting a whole bunch of doublers at the expense of getting blankers in 34. So I think that works as well. On a wild card, Clive to Semenyo or Dango, I think Bournemouth players will be very short term. That's the main reason why I don't have any Bournemouth players. Like, unfortunately, I mean, we can't have everything. So, unfortunately, something has to give. In which case, for my team, it's probably the Bournemouth players that are giving. Martinez or Areola better for Game Week 33 bench boost? The way that I think about whether Areola or Martinez is better is how would you want to triple up on Aston Villa? If you rather have 2 attackers and say 1 defender, for example, then you got to save that spot for, it's like a Konza, Rashford, and Watkins kind of a combination. Or would you rather, Martinez, Rashford, and Watkins and no Konza? Like, if you're okay with that kind of a trade-off, which is not huge, then I think that's fine. I've even seen drafts that have a plan to try and get 3 Aston Villa attackers in 33. I've seen drafts that look like that. I mean, I would tend to just go with 1 defender and 2 attackers if I was looking at Aston Villa players. How do you feel about the Newcastle defenders? Is Trippier really the best option? I'm going for Livramento. You will be starting Saka. Do you think he'll start? If I have Saka in my draft, I'm definitely starting him. Burn has a higher ceiling than Livramento. I do like the bullet headers from Dan Burn. It's really just the suspension that puts me off a little bit. 3 uncertainties gamble in the midfield: Gordon, Saka, and Rashford. I like my risks. I mean, it is, to be honest, the last few game weeks of the season. If I'm to go risky in any game week and just try to, maximize the potential, this has to be the week, right? But doing forget Villa got. Do not forget, I assume. Do not forget that Aston Villa got Champions League either side of Southampton. There may be rotation, yes. So they'll be playing PSG before and after the Southampton game. Yes, there may be rotation for sure. But I also think that Rashford is the kind of player that's not going to get 90 minutes against PSG. He's probably one of them that's going to get reduced minutes then, in which case he probably gets more minutes against Southampton. I think I'm willing to take a bit of that gamble. Saka is not going to be at his best on his return. Been a long time since he played first team football. He will not be expected to go all out as his injury was very serious. Fair enough. I mean, fair enough. If that's your view, you can take Saka out. Chewy, nice to see you in the chat. How's it going? Stuck between Salah and Marmoush for captaincy. It is close, but I am probably leaning towards Marmoush. Is Visa a must sell? And if so, for who? Budget around 6.5 million. Visa is not a must sell. Auto capped Salah this season. Over 600 points from one player. Incredible. Evan Nielsen has Ipswich, who are terrible. So you reckon could start with Evan Nielsen instead of Pedro? I mean, I don't even have João Pedro here. but I don't mind someone starting with Evan Nielsen. Like it just basically means you're probably booking in transfers unless you have a free hit saved somewhere. For those drafts, mostly with Bournemouth players, it's, I think, for a couple of reasons. Their short-term fixtures are really good. Secondly, they have a fixture in Gameweek 34. So largely the drafts that I've seen have Bournemouth players are those in a spot where they don't have a free hit in 34 to navigate that blank game week. So they're trying to take advantage of the short-term fixtures, get some gains there, and thereafter in 34 they also have a fixture for the Bournemouth player. So I do get why some drafts will have Bournemouth players. I do see the appeal of that. All wildcard drafts focusing on Arsenal, Crystal Palace, City, Villa, Forest, and Brentford are Forest and Brentford are also going to double. Forest and Brentford are not guaranteed to double. There is a chance that their fixture could stay in Game Week 34 because of the way the Nottingham Forest fixtures are arranged. There is a chance, or at least the probability right now is that their fixture will be rescheduled to the midweek of Game Week 34, which keeps it in Game Week 34. They don't blank then, basically. So there is a chance that happens. Third City player, I wouldn't go Nico Gonzalez. Savinho instead of third City player. If I'm to go for a third asset, would be Savinho. Saka and Kepa, or Eze and Raya. Eze and Raya. Borden, Henderson, Mateta, Lacroix, and Marmoush for -4. That seems like a very fine -4. Saka for me is, I need 1 week of info. I never trust Arteta. Fair enough. That's fair enough. All right. So I think this is going to be it. If I'm to make any changes, I will update you guys in the Telegram chat up there. Also on the Instagram page as always. But yeah, thank you for tuning in on this, I guess, wildcard Game Week 30 stream. Last minute decision to a wildcard. Again, I haven't just activated it yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to activate it. Yeah, I mean, it's really just about finalizing the squad before I actually make the transfers and activate the chip. But I'm pretty certain I'm going to do it. So I'll keep you guys updated. If not, thank you all for tuning in. Please do drop a like in the stream. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. It's the last 9 weeks of FPL. We're going to give it a last push. And I wish you guys all the best for Game Week 30. I will catch you guys likely in the Game Week 31 deadline stream as always. If not, all the best. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.